And welcome to another episode of Expert Speak. I'm Michael DeLon, and today I'm talking with Sue Mysko. And Sue, well, first of all, thank you, Sue, for taking some time to be my guest today.
So great to be here, Michael. Excited to chat.
Good. Well, it's going to be a really fun conversation. I knew I liked Sue when I started doing the research on this, and her title, the Chief Marketing Outsider, and I thought, oh, that is like so wicked cool. So we're going to talk about how Sue works with entrepreneurs, business owners to really come in as a partner in that C-suite to really build some strategy around marketing and guide direction in business growth and results. I can't wait. It's going to be a phenomenal conversation. So, Sue, let's dive into the deep end. Let me ask you, how in the world did you get doing what you're doing today?
Yeah, no, it's a great story, and thanks so much, Michael, for having me. So I have been a career marketer. So, 25 years in professional services marketing, working for the likes of Deloitte, Accenture, KPMG, doing services marketing for them. And then I got to a point in my career where I said, I really wanted to start helping smaller organizations. I've worked extensively with large organizations, but I really saw the need in smaller organizations. And so what I wanted to do was I said, all right, it's time for me to transition from these big organizations and really jump in and start helping these smaller organizations. So it was about 3, 4 years ago that I spent time taking all of the thinking and all of the strategy and all of those marketing activities that those big organizations do, and I translated them into activities that smaller organizations can use, right? If you're at Accenture and you're, a $43 billion organization, what they can do is a whole lot different scale than what a $1 to $10 million organization can do. But what we really found when we started to make this transition is that the premise is the same. We just figured out how to scale it differently. And
Yeah.
so became a fractional CMO, started serving clients at a smaller scale, and was excited with the results we got, was excited because we were starting to see the needles really move. And then where we saw the gap was I found people reaching out to me saying, how do I find a fractional executive? How do I find a fractional CMO? How do I find a CFO, a CIO, a CTO? And that where the idea for Hire a Fractional was born. And it's a marketplace where we bring together two sides. We bring together those small business owners, we bring together the fractionals, and it is not a recruiting service. It is truly a marketplace.
Hmm.
And so it is free for companies to come and find a fractional because we recognize in today's economy, it's stressful for them. It's tough out there right now. And so they know they need the people to grow, but you know what? They don't have the 10, 15, $20,000 in order to hire someone. And so this is why we put together this marketplace. And so, yeah, it's been an exciting ride for sure.
That is very, very cool. So let's bring this down to bottom shelf stuff. Okay.
Yep.
Low. I want to make sure our audience understands what it is when we're talking fractional, because in the last year and a half, I mean, the market has been inundated. I think everybody who has a plaque or has taken a course is a fractional something, and it gets really confusing to go, what in the world are we talking about? Let's do that first, and then how are you different from everybody else, right? So when somebody says I'm a fractional chief marketing officer, let's just bring that down and say, here's what I mean by that.
Yeah, for sure. So a fractional means three things. So the difference, and let's talk about the difference between a fractional and a consultant. So a fractional, think of this is the person who comes into your organization almost like a full-time hire. They are at that level of commitment. They are at that level of engagement because their role is threefold. One, their job is to join the C-suite. The goal of a fractional is to have somebody come in, and we say it's the chief marketing officer. Just because you put the word fractional in it, they still have to be at that senior level, at that chief marketing officer level. If you bring someone in as a marketing manager, they're not fractional, they're just part-time, right? And so that's where the difference lies. This person would come in and be responsible for strategy. So regardless if it's the CMO, the CFO, the COO, they're responsible for building and driving that strategy. And they drive that strategy, they're responsible for the leadership. So what that means is they need to provide leadership in the C-suite. but they also need to build the team and lead the team who are going to do the implementation. So it's not just good enough to say, all right, here's the strategy, off you go, which is what a consultant does. They then are also on point for that leadership. And then thirdly, and most importantly, they're at the pointy end of the stick. They're on point for results. So at the end of the day, it is my job as a fractional CMO to come in and say, all right, to do the audit, to say, where are we today? Where's the, what are we doing well? Where are the gaps? So that we can build the strategy that is aligned to our business growth goals, so that I can then build and work with the team to implement that strategy. And then I'm on point for the results at the end of that.
Okay. And you do it. And the cool thing I want people to understand is it's fractional, which means you are
Yeah.
sitting in the C-suite, yet
Mhm.
you're not a full-time person, you're fractional. Explain that, because I think
Yeah.
we don't translate that very well sometimes.
So it's the thinking of a W-2 without being a W-2. So you do come in on a freelance contract, and the contract can be for 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week. It can be for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. I like to recommend a minimum of 3 months, because it's going to take 4 weeks to get in there to really understand the business and the business goals, and then to build the strategy that you need, and then a minimum of 2 months to start to get some traction. So it just depends on the size of the organization. Typically a fractional can come in around 10 hours a week for 3 months and make a significant impact.
Mm-hmm. That's good. See, thank you for that, because I think that makes a lot of people go, oh, okay, this is not like a lifetime commitment here. Could
No.
be, it might be, but there are just some things that as a CMO from your years of experience, that you can walk into a business and probably within 2 or 3 or 4 weeks go, oh my goodness, let's just kind of tweak some things and do this and that and the other, and get a lot of people kind of on the right track, maybe to set up for some really significant growth. But do you find business owners are kind of struggling because they don't? Uh, Business owners aren't great at marketing, but a lot of times we're not great at running a business because we don't go to school for it. We just have a great idea that everybody needs to hear about, right?
So you've mentioned it, there's a few things in there. When I come in as a fractional, my goal is to come in, build a strategy, build a marketing team, and find and build a succession plan. My goal isn't to come in and say I'm going to be there for 2 years, or to be there, infinitum. My goal is to say, let's, here's our goal for the first 3 months, and after the 3 months, we might say, all right, this is where we're at. Maybe we need 6 more months to build this. Maybe we need 12 months. But in my world, I always keep it as more of a finite program, because it is results driven. And so we need to be driving towards those outcomes as we go forward. So, it's not that, hey, I'm, welcome and you're here forever.
Yeah. Well, and that's really important, because as business owners, it might be that you bring Sue in for 3 months, maybe 6 months. Let's just say 6 months, to get your marketing engine, your marketing plant working well, where you might have a director of marketing who could kind of take over some things, because Sue has come in and really built it with some great strategy that everybody's on board with. And she's just that what do you call it, the hired gun, in a sense, to come in and go, I'm going to make your marketing sing. Is that fair?
That's absolutely fair, because the other part of that too is, after those 6 months, I can then move into an advisor capacity. And so I'll just come in a couple hours a week, meet with the team, and maybe it's, we say it's a 3 to 4 hour, you go from 10 hours down to 2 to 2 hours a week, to oversee the team, to keep it on track, to do the quarterly planning.
Right.
And so, again, that's the beauty of a fractional, is that we can come in and provide the service that the small business needs. And
Yes.
that's the beauty of where fractionals lie. And because you made a very valid point, Michael, where when you said, many small business owners aren't actually business owners. They're really good in their craft. They're really good at what they do, and they're not good across the board. And this is where fractionals are such a hidden gem, because for the price of one full-time CFO, COO, CMO, pick your C, you can hire three. So if instead of hiring a full-time CFO, you could hire a fractional CFO, a fractional COO, and a fractional CMO
Yeah.
for that same dollar value. And that is really what's going to help that entrepreneur or small business owner stay focused on why they got into the business. Right? Like they got into the business because, to your point, they had a great idea and everybody needed to hear this, not necessarily because they knew how to run a business. So why not bring all the people around you who know how to do that and who can support you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the myths that's out there for small business owners is we forget that what you just said is we look at the people like Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or Russell Brunson, it doesn't matter who they are, to go, oh, he knows everything about everything. And the reality is, no, they know one thing about something, and they're smart enough to hire other people who
Yes.
just don't get the limelight. But without the number two, number three, and number four people, there is no
Mm-hmm.
number one person, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and Russell Brunson's story is fantastic when he brought in Todd Dickerson, right? And so it was the same thing. Like you hear that, you've got the behind the scenes people who are, everyone has their role. And then, Russell Brunson is the front man, but he
Absolutely.
has built an entire team behind him in order so that he can have that role. And I think, it was Jim Collins in the book Good to Great. It's not just about getting the right people on the bus. You have to get them in the right seat. And I
Right.
think that's also incredibly important as a founder or entrepreneur, solopreneur. You need to understand what your strength is. Are you the visionary? Are you the implementer? Who are you in your own organization? And once you see who you are in the organization, it's only then you can start to build your team around you.
Yeah. Oh, very much so. There's so many nuggets right there. And we were talking because you live in Toronto and I'm a strategic coach, and we're talking about Dan Sullivan. He's all the rage with who, not how, and 10x is easier than 2x. And you read those books and it sounds great, but the reality is it doesn't happen all by yourself. The
Right.
reason 10x is easier than 2x is because he'll tell you to go get a fractional CMO who will help you get there, or a fractional COO or something. You're not doing it by yourself. And I think that's the thing that business owners have to understand is one of my
Mhm.
marketing mentors is Roy Williams. And he told me this years ago, is that for a small business owner, your business will grow to the length of your shadow. And then you have to bring other people around so that they will lift you up, and then your shadow gets bigger, right? But it's
Yeah.
because of those other people. And too many times entrepreneurs are stuck in the I have to do it mentality. It's like, no, stop it. Dan Sullivan, unique ability, right? And Sue,
Yeah.
you and I haven't known each other that long. I'm only good at four things in life. Okay. I'm wicked good at four things. But outside of that, I am mediocre at best. So I have learned to bring people around me, like finances, right? My wife is my bookkeeper, my son's my chief financial officer. I don't touch them. They invite me to those finance meetings. I'm like, do I really have to be here? Really? Because I just don't like it that
Did
much.
we make money this month or not?
Honestly, seriously, give me the bottom line. Can I go? But we all know what I'm great at. And so they are working diligently to keep me in my sweet spot.
Mhm.
But I work diligently because if I brought my wife in here to do this, she hates being on camera and speaking. She's the numbers person. So it's, as an entrepreneurs, we have to understand where we're great and then reach out to people like Sue and say, okay, I need some help with marketing and strategy and executing. And can you build a team? Because I don't even know where to go for that. And Sue's going, I got it. Let's
Yeah.
work. And the thing is, I love about what you do is you don't just say, I got it, I'll give you a report, but you're like, I got it. And oh, by the way, I'm sitting in the seat next to you because I'm locking arms with you for this time period. Is that
Yeah.
kind of how it works?
It is. It's absolutely, and you are part of the leadership team. So you are sitting in those, regular meetings and you're understanding the business strategy so that everything that you're doing is driving towards one goal. It's you have there can't be silos. If there's silos, you're not doing it right. And so at the end of the day, you've got to be sitting there saying, what are the business goals? What are the marketing goals? And we are here and we are in this together and we're driving forward on that.
So important. And the difference right there between a fractional CMO or a CMO and a consultant or whatever,
Yeah.
or a hired gun or a vendor, is that she's sitting in the meetings. And how many times, Sue, have you been sitting in one of those meetings and something is said or shared that you go, That's what we needed, right? That would never have been shared if you're just talking to the marketing person, because they don't need to understand about operations. Well, no, actually I do. And so sitting there, I mean, doesn't that happen once in a while? It's like, wow.
Well, absolutely. And I think the one of the biggest values you get as being a fractional is that while you're not in competing businesses, you're definitely working across complementary businesses. So there's
Yeah.
a huge value because I can say, well, you know what, we've done this over in this organization, and I think this would play really well here. So instead of being all in, all focus, heads down in one business, you're head up and you're seeing across multiple businesses with similar problems, and you're able to bring best practices from what's happening across the board. So it is such a huge benefit because you get to bring all of this greatness to these small business owners. And so you're bringing a level of strategy that they wouldn't be able to afford otherwise.
That's right. Yeah, very much so. When I wrote my book back in 2013, I've got a chapter and they're talking about tunnel vision versus what I call funnel vision. You just explained funnel vision. It's looking across industries to see what works over there to go, wow, a plumber does it that way. Maybe I could do that, even though I'm a computer guy. And it translates
Mhm.
versus saying, I'm a computer guy and all I do is look at computer people. Right? That's what I call a tunnel vision. I'm only looking at my industry. And there's so much you can learn from other industries, but I don't have time to look at those other industries. But Sue does because she's in it all the time.
Well, and my most favorite thing to do is to watch the Super Bowl for the ads because I'm sitting there watching the ads going, we could apply that concept over
Yep,
there. We could apply
absolutely.
that concept over there. And why didn't we think about that? And like the light bulbs just are going off. And then, yeah, and then you can come in and really bring some really innovative thinking.
Yeah, and it honestly makes watching the Super Bowl so much more fun because you got more time to eat and party while they're playing, and then we come and watch 3 minutes of TV. The ads are more fun than the game most of the time. This year was different, but that's okay. All right, talk about what kind of businesses should be thinking about reaching out to you. Is it a startup or is somebody who's hit 1 million or 10 million? I mean, ballpark, or does it matter?
So it doesn't matter. So I focus on B2B services. So if you're in a B2B service space, that's the foundation. That's you talk
Okay.
about the four things you do well. That's one of that's definitely my sweet spot. And then we just have different levels of service offering. If you're under 1 million and you say, I really need a strategy, we can just come in and build you a strategy. And
Mm,
then if they want to take it and run with it and then grow until they get over about 1 to 2 million is when it becomes the reality that a fractional could come into your business. It's kind of that in that 1 to 2 million
yeah,
is where the affordability comes in to make it worthwhile. So for
that's
those
great.
under that, we do have services
Mhm.
that we can provide to them, but the sweet spot really is that 1 to 2 and over.
That's great. Thank you for that because I think business owners need to have higher vision. And if you're a business owner and you're cresting 1 million now, you might not be ready for a full-time fractional. I don't know if
You're
that's a
right.
thing.
You got it. Yep. Full-time
Um,
fractional.
but your mindset needs to say, I may be at 900,000 in revenue, but my mindset is I'm a $3.5 million business. That's what I'm building toward. I need to think like a $3.5 million business.
Yep.
So I need to engage with Sue and in her team to say, how can we get there in the next 2 to 3 years?
Yep.
What do I need to be doing today to set myself up so that I'm there? Because that's where my mindset is. That is so huge. And because of your experience, Sue, and all the companies you've worked with in the past and what you do now, I'm sure you can help a business owner start having more confidence in the ability to get there because most business owners struggle with marketing. That's what holds us back.
And a big part of what we do is the foundations. There are certain foundations that every single business owner needs to put in place. And that's typically like we do have a foundations program. And that's that's for the exactly who you just described because they're not ready for a full-time fractional, but they don't entirely know what they need to do. And so here are the 3 to 5 foundations
Yeah,
that need to be put in place that and we can help them with that on a smaller scale, but these are the 3 to 5 foundations that need to be put in place because if you don't have those, you will struggle to get to that 3.5 mil.
Yeah. Dare I say, Sue will bring to bear what I call a voice of reason. Because otherwise, what you're going to do is you're going to chase every little shiny object and every little consultant who, or whatever, who's swinging something to go, oh, do this. We'll help you scale your business. We'll make you a 7 or 8 figure business in 3 months. It's like, no, stop, because you don't have the foundations, you don't have the systems, you don't have the right strategy in place. That's why I tell business owners, don't do that. Stop, build system. We in our company, we've for the last 2 years, we have sacrificed growth for systems, because we knew we had to build systems in order to achieve the growth that we know is there, but we're waiting to make sure everything's in place, because marketing will kill a business as fast as it will make a business if your systems aren't right.
Yeah, it's the people, the process, and the technology.
Yeah.
So you've got to have each of those pieces built and correct, right? And it's like I said, you got to get the right people on the bus in the right seat, right? That's the people part of it. You have to have the process and the systems in place. You need to have that set of SOPs. You need to know that it's happening the same way every single time.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that just brings joy to our heart when we hear that, Sue, because it's like, oh, systems. But what I learned is I hired my son, who is on the Colby score, is exactly opposite of me. He loves building systems. And so if he had a business card, his title would be to make Michael's business dreams come true. I come up with the idea and he goes, I'll figure it out. And then he builds the systems and the people and stuff, and we are off to the races. So business owners need to understand that Sue can be your Caleb. In my case, she can help you understand the strategy around marketing, the systems, the people, so that you can grow. Because without the foundation, you're going to build something and it's going to crumble.
And I think the important thing to know is that I also have a team of people around me. And so I have brought, I have a team of experts. So if we determine you need SEO, or if you need pay-per-click, or if you need, a new CRM, or whatever it is we agree on as part of your strategy, I have the resources. I've been in marketing for 25 years. I know all the best people to bring in to help us build this and execute it efficiently. So, you joke, but at the end of the day, I think, I suspect our Colby scores are quite the same.
Yeah.
Right? Like high quick start, low follow through, right? Like,
Pick me.
yeah, right. Same, pick me. But by the same token, I recognize that I've got a team around me of people who work with me, who are experts in those key areas. Because again, I look at, again, what are the 4 things that I'm good at? I can't be good at PPC and SEO and copywriting, and like it's not possible. What I'm good at is the strategy and the vision and knowing what's right for an organization. And then having the people who can come in and support me on that.
100%. If you're listening to this, just stop, rewind that for about a minute or two and re-listen to what she just said. Brilliant. And that's exactly how we need to be running our businesses. And when it comes to growing your company, you need to make sure the foundations are there. And if you're wanting to grow to be a $3.5, $4.5 million, $10 million, $20 million a year company, you need somebody like Sue on your team and in your C-suite. And if you have that vision, let me encourage you to reach out and have a conversation. Sue, you and I could go on for a long time. Okay. I just know that we could just dive deep, but how do people find out more about you, your company, what you can do, and tell them that first. Yeah. How do they get there?
You know what? Find me on LinkedIn and just reach out, connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'll send you a Calendly link, and we can just get on the phone and do a 20-minute chat, see where you're at, and see if I can help. Right? I think that's really important. I don't come into every organization, because there are some organizations that I don't truly believe I can help. And so I want to make sure that it's a fit for both sides, and I want this to be truly a beneficial relationship for both sides. So connect with me on LinkedIn, and shoot me a message, and we will find a time to get on the phone and see how I can help.
That's awesome. I'm gonna make sure that link is in the show notes, because a lot of people are listening to this on the run and everything. But I want to make sure that's in the show notes so you can reach out to Sue. And good golly, what a great offer! Let's have a conversation and see where it goes. And if she can help you, she'll tell you. And if she can't, She'll tell you. And probably with 25 years of experience, if you can't help somebody, you probably know somebody that they should be talking to that
I
might help
do.
them.
I've got a wonderful network of other fractionals who I would, and I've referred work out on a regular basis because, again, if somebody has a product and they, and they want product marketing, still reach out to me because I know somebody I could probably connect you with in that space as well. So
That's awesome.
happy to be that connector. If I'm not the one for you, I'm happy to be that connector.
Yeah. Well, and that's awesome. And what a great way to show up and just give, because that phone call is a win-win phone call regardless. You're going to learn something, you're going to make a new friend, you're going to make some connections, and you might be able to grow your business with Sue or with somebody else. So Sue Mysko from LinkedIn. I'm going to get the LinkedIn in the show notes, but Mysko is how. So if you're listening to this and you just got to go get her, go find her. She's on LinkedIn. She's all over the place, and she's the Chief Marketing Outsider, which I really enjoy that. Sue, this has been so much fun. Thank you for doing what you do, because I know how much value you're adding to business owners' lives, and not just growing their business, but just taking a load of stress off their life and bringing clarity and confidence to them. So thanks for doing that, and just for showing up as you and having a really fun conversation.
This has been great, Michael. Thanks so much for having me.